Chronicles Medieval has been making headlines within the Mount and Blade community, and this for good reasons. Mind you, not just the Mount and Blade community is excited for this game, but for this particular video I do want to focus on the thoughts that come from those players in particular. The reason for this is because Chronicles Medieval shows a lot of similarities with Bannerlord, a sandbox action RPG/strategy game and the latest installment in the Mount and Blade series made by Tailworlds, where you start out as a nobody and work your way up, making a name for yourself by taking part in tournaments, meeting and recruiting companions, trading, romancing NPCs, joining an existing kingdom, and or eventually building your own in what is essentially a fantasy world called Calradia. Now, Bannerlord was released on March 30th, 2020 in early access. This after a lengthy period of development, and if we're being honest, it had a rough start. Many players thought that the game was unpolished, experiencing performance issues and a number of bugs. In time, players were also critical of the features and content that were present in the base game, and they felt like there was a lot of potential, but it just wasn't there, with various features that were present in Mount and Blade Warband having been removed for the successor or that are very bare bones. Even when Bannerlord was fully released on October 25th, 2022, there was still quite a bit of criticism, especially regarding its depth and complexity, with players requesting for more intricate mechanics such as a diplomacy system and deeper courtship mechanics, to mention but two. This is a debate within the Mount and Blade community that is still ongoing, with one side supporting the Tailworlds developers and the other being very critical of them, stating that they are disappointed with the game in its current form, being a full release. Naturally, you can claim these players have high expectations, but quite a few features that were promised, or at least expected to be in the game, seem to be missing, or didn't get as much attention by the developers as the players would have liked, making the gameplay feel shallow at times. And now this is where the modders come in. Mount and Blade boasts a large community dedicated to making mods that not just expand on what the base game already offers, but they are able to make their own worlds, their own games within this game. One of the larger and popular mods being Shokuo. They offer a complete overhaul of Mount and Blade to Bannerlord, recreating a historically accurate environment of feudal Japan in the 16th century. I was following this project for quite a while and eventually got invited to playtest and record some gameplay for you guys prior to its release, for which I again want to thank the development team for giving me early access. But so yeah, these modders, they showed me and the player base what a lot of passion and work can do. In fact, they went above and beyond. They introduced new mechanics, new features that the base game did not offer. We're talking about a built-in diplomacy system, books that you can read to level up skills, duel locations that spawn at random where you can fight against a variety of opponents, naval travel and combat, post-battle locations that you can visit to loot stuff from fallen soldiers, new quests, and more. You can start to understand why the average Mount and Blade player would be a bit annoyed at best to see all the potential that the base game could have had without Tailworlds needing to rely on the modders to do the work for them. And mind you, it hasn't been easy for the modding community, with constant minor updates from Tailworlds along the years getting in the way of their progress, compatibility issues between mods, mods not working because of a wrong load order, conflicts, and so on. So now we have come to Chronicles Medieval. My first video on this up and coming medieval sandbox was met with a lot of enthusiasm by you guys, but also, fair to say, cautious optimism. We're not yet sure how this game is going to turn out since its early days, but I will stay true to my promise to keep you guys updated on this game. Now, even though it hasn't been that long since it was announced, I can tell you that we've had some interesting developments take place since I uploaded that first video, and they have something to do with the Bannerlord modding community, as you probably gathered from the title of this video. You see, various modding teams were contacted by Raw Power Games, the developers of Chronicles Medieval, including, but likely not limited to, the Shokuo team, and the modders responsible for RBM or Realistic Battle Mod. Those are the ones that I'm pretty sure about that have been contacted and have teamed up with the developers fairly early in their development, in order for them to gain a better understanding of modding distribution and to learn how to make mod tools user-friendly, as they want to do modding right when it comes to Chronicles Medieval. This is something that I mean, I don't think I need to state how big this is to a large part of the Mount & Blade community, how important it is to have developers of an upcoming game that could rival Bannerlord, a game that is unique in this niche of the gaming world, and to have them be so invested in trying to make that scene work as best as possible, to make for a better experience for the player base and the modders. So yeah, this news came to many as a big green flag, honestly, and in truth, Tailworlds probably needs this competition to get them back on track. We know that the War Sales DLC is coming up somewhere in autumn. It was announced and expected to have been released in June, but right at the end of May, Tailworlds had to reel itself and us back in, and they explained that they weren't ready to release this expansion on their initially planned release date, being June 17th. This news obviously got both positive remarks as well as criticism, especially in these times. The positives would be that it's good they delayed this DLC. Imagine if players bought the expansion and had similar experiences to what happened to them in 2020 with an unpolished version of the DLC. So in that sense, while it's frustrating and sad for a lot of players to see that release date being pushed back, it is probably the best decision to make from Tailworlds' their point of view, that is. Obviously it doesn't look well, and people critical of Tailworlds were keen to jump in on the delay of this DLC, coming back to the communication issues that this company has had for a while now with their own community. I would like to know what you guys think of this, by the way, so if you're a bit more up to date or you wish to share your opinion on this matter when it comes to Tailworlds, the development process of Bannerlord, the current state of Bannerlord and the upcoming DLC and what more, then please feel free to post it down below. I would love to know your thoughts. And the same goes with this news of Bannerlord modders being approached by the developers of Chronicles Medieval. Is this a green flag to you or not? I do want to come back and talk about Brawl Power Games for a bit, this fully funded studio founded in 2022 based in Denmark, having this tight-knit crew of over 100 senior developers, their impressive resume, having worked on some of the biggest titles in the gaming industry, to now work on a game that lets you step into a vast, dynamic, medieval sandbox, throwing you not into a fantasy world, but in a brutal and beautiful European world. Despite all that information, which if you want to see the full picture and know a bit more about Chronicles Medieval, then I advise you to check out my first video on it. So despite all that, I've seen people comment that it sounds too good to be true, or that it would never get to the same level as Mount & Blade, let alone it will be able to compare itself to Bannerlord. And to that I wanted to say, I get being skeptical, but come on. I personally am excited to see how this project will turn out. I don't think a bit of competition is bad, and I'm hopeful, especially given the level of openness from the developers and their willingness to learn from the mistakes others have made. So yeah, I hope you guys are as excited as I am, and if you are, make sure to hit that like button so I know I can make some more of these update videos for you guys, and subscribe so you can check out any other videos I post. And with that having said, I hope to see you in the next one. Take care everyone.